welcome to this new video. So today's video is going to be on 20 things that British people find weird in Canada. Now, if you're new to this channel, please like this video and subscribe to the channel. So I just want to apologize for any white noise that you might be hearing. My microphone, I basically ordered a new microphone, here it is, and it was a load of shit, so I'm going to be sending that back and we'll just have to do with this crappy microphone. I have to use a microphone in here, otherwise we get terrible echo. So anyway guys, let's get into this. So number one guys, is summer is real here in Canada. Now it shocks a lot of British people, it shocks a lot of people around the world that when they picture Canada, they picture polar bears roaming around and natives running around. But it's nothing like that at all. Most of the population lives actually south of all the major populous cities in the UK. Number two, life continues when it snows. Now this can be a hard one for people to wrap their head around, even in the southern US, but when it snows here, the country does not grind to a halt. So when it snows in England, the whole country just shuts down. It's like a national holiday almost, and everybody is working from home. Now back, I would say pre-COVID, it was obviously funny because a lot of people couldn't work from home, but obviously now they could. And even in Canada, you're starting to see the fact that obviously after COVID, employers will be saying work from home if the weather's bad, and that will be a good thing that comes out of this. Number three, turning right on red is totally legal here. Now, if you don't know what I'm talking about, basically when you come up to a traffic lights, we drive on the right in Canada. So basically when you come up to a traffic lights, you can turn right on red as long as you come to a full stop, check that the intersection is clear, and then you're free to go. You don't have to wait for a green light. Now that was kind of a weird thing for me to even grasp when we first came to America, not Canada, because it's a North American thing. And it is a little bit weird, but yeah, you get used to it. Number four, undertaking is totally legal as well, and it's not frowned upon. So undertaking is passing a car on the right here. Yeah, it would be passing the car on the right. And in England, it would be passing the car on the left, on the inside, no, yeah, on the out, I don't know, I'm getting all muddled up here, but yeah, basically it's totally legal. If you do it here, nobody's gonna have a road rage incident with you, and it does make it very dangerous, especially in places like Toronto, where you've got roads like these, which I used to drive on every single day, and it would just be chaos. But yeah, you get used to it like everything. Number five, they have a holiday here called Victoria Day. It's a public holiday to celebrate the Queen, and we couldn't wrap our heads around this either. But basically, it's a celebration of the monarchy. Lots of fireworks, stuff like that. You don't even get that in England, so it's kind of bizarre, and I think a lot of British people find it really weird. Number six, everything is like a grid system here. So everything's based on the grid system in North America. Now, for those of you that haven't been to North America, there's a place closer to home that you can visit called Milton Keynes that has the grid system too. It's sort of similar to what we have over here, and basically it just means getting around is much easier. Number seven, the price is not actually what the item costs. Now what I mean by this is everything is plus tax, and this is not a Canadian thing, this is a North American thing. And again, when you first travel to North America or Canada, you're gonna have a shock, and it takes some getting used to, because when you go into a store and buy something, they are going to charge you a price and then add tax onto that price at the end. So let's say you buy an item for $5, when you take it to the till and you've seen the price of $4.99 or whatever it is, when they actually ring it up, it could be $6, $7, depending on the tax. And the tax varies province to province, state to state in the US. So again, it is totally confusing. The tax system is really, really confusing to work out because some things you don't pay tax on, others you do. So it is super, super confusing. It would be much easier if they just had a system like England where it was all included in the price. Number 8, alcohol is sold in separate places called liquor stores. Now, alcohol is kind of a weird one here, and again, we were like shocked. We found this so weird when we moved. We moved to Ontario, and alcohol was only sold through the liquor store, which was a government-owned entity. So basically, the government, the one that takes your taxes, was also the one selling you liquor. And in Ontario, it was only the government that was allowed to sell liquor at that point. It's changed and relaxed a lot now, but it was bizarre when we first moved. And the alcohol laws in general in Canada and America are a lot stricter on where you can drink, when you can drink, where you can buy drink from, than in the UK, where you can crack open a can and just walk around on the streets, go to a local park and just get pissed up. Number 9, weed is totally legal in Canada and abundance. Now, weed has been legal for like a year and a bit, but even before the weed legalization, weed was like totally everywhere in Canada. We were just shocked. Like, there's a place called Kensington Market in Toronto. Highly recommend that you visit there if you go visit Toronto. And Kensington Market is just like an abundance of weed stores, coffee shops, you know, there was all kinds of stuff there. And this was before the legalization too. So weed is absolutely everywhere now. It's legalized. And yeah, it's a good thing. Number 10, people are patriotic about their province and their country, and they show it by raising flags. There is literally so many flags around in Canada and in the US, and you will see them driving around from car dealerships to wherever. You just don't see these huge flags everywhere in the UK. In fact, like, people barely fly the St. George's Cross anymore, and I think that was something to do with some PC bullshit. But anyway, number 11, you can take a flight 5 hours and still be in Canada. Yeah, I mean, I still can't wrap my head around that right now, so that's enough said about that. So number 12, it is completely normal to drive for 11 hours in one day in Canada. And heaven forbid that you go 4 hours or 5 hours and then stop. Your friends are going to look at you like, what the fuck is wrong with you? And honestly, I've had those experiences. It's not just possible to drive that long, it's expected, guys. Number 13, Canadians watch Coronation Street. This is just a weird one, and it's only Coronation Street, and it must go back way back, like 10-20 years, because, you know, there's no EastEnders, no other soaps, literally just Coronation Street. But yeah, it's a popular soap here in Canada too. Number 14, the mix between Canadian English and American English is confusing. And Canadians confuse themselves with this all the time. As you get further west in Canada, you will hear Z and people referring more to things in American English than like Canadian English, or like English as we British know it. And it is super confusing because back in Ontario, you know, they would refer to everything kind of similar to us. Number 15, despite the French connection to Canada, they use less French in their names than we do in England. And if you think about it, we call aubergines, which is a French word. They call them eggplants here, and we call it courgettes, they call it zucchini, and that is really weird because you would think Canada, which is actually kind of more French, I would say, than England, but however they use less French in their language, but then have French as a second language. It's just kind of confusing. Number 16, the schools are like The Simpsons. Now, how I imagine The Simpsons is right there, but basically everybody sits at their own desk, kind of separate from the other person. And it was just so weird to see that. When I first saw that, I just thought of The Simpsons. But they designed it with COVID in mind, because they just moved the desks 6 feet apart. In schools in England, like, you had 5-6 people sat at one big desk, and there would be multiples throughout the class. And that is just one weird thing. We would only take exams where we have separate desks, whereas over here that is totally normal for classes. Number 17, despite working more than Brits, Canadians are actually less stressed about their work than Brits. So it's less stressful to work in Canada. This is just because people are more laid back, and it's just a different work culture over here, which is more relaxed. Number 18, healthcare is not completely free. For example, taking an ambulance could cost you like $100, $150, depending on how far it is, kind of like a taxi. Oh man, that sounds bad. Number 19, bar etiquette is totally different in Canada compared to England and the UK. Now this is a funny one, because our friends who came over just could not get their head around this. And basically when you walk into a bar, like, it is just extremely unusual to go straight up to the bar and start ordering drinks and sit down. And it would also be unusual to just pay one after another for each drink. That's not the way it works here. So I kind of like it. I don't even drink, so I don't really care. But you basically go into a bar, and then you are going to be seated by a server, and you're going to be served your drinks. You don't get to sit. You can sit at the bar and order drinks, but you don't pay after every single one. You basically run up a bill just as you would in a restaurant in England. And that is so strange to get your head around of when you first come here, because yeah, it's not the same as British pubs where you would go to the bar, you order the drinks, and then you find your seat. No, you do it the other way round. You get comfortable before you order your drinks, and it's a more logical way of doing things if you think about it. Number 20, banks are open all the time. So banks are open 8 or 9 p.m. some days, and they're even open Sundays. And in England that wasn't the case, or at least it wasn't the case when I was there. It was unusual for a bank to be open on a Saturday. In fact, I can remember I switched to Barclays once just because the bank was open on a Saturday. No other reason. I barely ever even go to the bank anymore. Anyway guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you enjoyed this video, please smash that like button, subscribe to my channel. There's going to be more great content coming your way, and I will see you soon guys. In England, and here they don't. They call that a zucchini. No, they call it an eggplant. They use less French in their Canadian English version of English than our English version of English. God, is that a mouthful.